Hello everyone, I'm Pharmacist Michael, and today I'm going to talk about a very serious subject, which is addiction. Do you have an addiction that's affecting your life? Would you like to live a more healthy lifestyle? Do you know someone else who is addicted to a substance that you would like to help? I'm going to try to help you break the cycle of addiction, because I think addiction is one of the things that can derail your life faster than anything else. Now, what do the statistics say? 11.7% of Americans age 12 and over use illegal drugs, and 31.9 million have used them in the last 30 days. 139.8 million Americans 12 and over drink alcoholic beverages, and 14.8 million have alcohol use disorder. We also know that less than 8% of those with alcohol use disorder receive treatment. 47% of our youths in America will use an illicit drug before they graduate from high school. So I actually developed an infographic that I want to show you, and I want to go through the stages of addiction just so you have an idea of what these stages are. You can see the first stage is initiation. The person tries a substance for the first time. This is usually due to peer pressure, mental health conditions, the substance availability, or the environment. Then they move to experimentation, where the person makes a decision to use the substance. The drug may be used to unwind after a hard day. We see this a lot with alcohol. Use may be connected to parties or social gatherings. Then we move to stage 3, which is regular use. This is where the pattern develops. You may begin to use the substance alone. User thinks about drug more often. The user relies on the substance to obtain the desired effect. And then stage 4 is risky use. This is when we really start to see the addiction show its ugly head, right? People may notice changes in your behavior. The users may begin to hide the drug use. Financial problems may arise. And users may begin to neglect their work or family responsibilities. Number 5 is dependence. This is when your body starts to rely on the substance. Tolerance has already begun. The user understands that they need the substance to function, and if they stop using it abruptly, withdrawal symptoms will appear. Stage 6 is addiction. By this point, the drug use is no longer a choice. The user loses control of their choices and actions. Even after treatment, relapse is common, and users may compulsively lie about their drug use. And the last stage is crisis in treatment. This is where the user actually becomes a threat to themselves and other people. The user is at a very high risk of overdose, and many users seek treatment or are forced into it at this point. So let's talk a little bit about how to break it. The first thing I want to do is I want to explain to you that if you or somebody you know is suffering from an addiction, the best thing you can always do is get help, right? It's super hard to do this yourself. It is possible, but it's difficult. So I'm going to suggest that you get help. Remember that you are worth way more than being addicted to a substance. You can do so much more and be so much happier away from an addictive substance. So I always tell people that if you're trying to get healthy and happy, which this channel is all about, the single most important thing really, besides loving yourself, is getting off drugs and alcohol if you're addicted to them. It's super important. So one of the first things that I would tell you, and the easiest ways to get away from these things is to engage in activities that don't involve alcohol and drugs. And there's a lot of things that you can do. You can go hiking, you can go swimming, you can exercise, you can play tennis, racquetball, go to concerts, go places and do things where you don't need a substance, or even better, go to places where they just aren't available. If you go hiking out in the woods and you don't take the substances with you, it's pretty hard to find them, right? So that's the first thing I will tell you. Learn to do things with people who aren't users, and learn to do things where your substance of choice is not included or available. Another thing that might help, and I worked with a psychiatrist back in the late 90s who always had his patients with an addiction reward themselves for not using. So the way this works is if you take half of the money that you would have spent on drugs and alcohol, save it up, and buy yourself something that you've always wanted or something that'll make you happy. I always think of musical instruments. So if say you're a guitar player and you've always wanted a new guitar, I use that because that's what I want currently, but maybe you can save up your money that you would have used on drugs and alcohol and buy a new guitar. It's also important to work on your coping skills. Now, this is important no matter what. What I normally tell people is, even if you are not stressed right now and you're not depressed right now, there will be a time in your life where it will come. It will come. And it's important when it does to have coping skills available so you don't end up going down the addiction rabbit hole, or you don't end up on an antidepressant when you don't need one. So what are some of the coping skills? Well, there's deep breathing techniques. There's guided imagery. There's meditation. Learn yoga, tai chi. Listen to your favorite music. Start gardening. These are all things that can help you cope with stress so you don't end up reaching for a glass of wine when you're stressed out. Usually that's how addiction starts, right? You've had a hard day at work, you're stressed out, so you reach for something to calm you down. And, you end up at stage 1 of the 7 stages and you just move your way through. And this isn't going to happen to everybody, right? But it's important to have coping skills on board and practice them. You need to practice these things. Stop negative thinking. So there's a book out called Feeling Good by Dr. David Burns. I highly recommend this book. You need to learn to stop thinking negatively about yourself, about the world, about everything. And I'm not going to go through all the thinking errors here because there's too many of them and it would take way too long, but this book is basically cognitive behavioral therapy that you can do yourself. I can't overstate the importance of eating a healthy diet and getting enough sleep. These 2 things will help you immensely in a lot of different parts of your life. Eating healthy will make you feel better. It'll give you more energy. You'll sleep better. Sleeping will make you deal with stress better, right? So those 2 things are super important. And be grateful. Be grateful for what you have. Start a gratification journal. Write 3 things down in the morning that you're grateful for. Write 3 things down at night that you're grateful for. Remember, your life needs to be happy. And the last thing I'm going to say, and maybe the most important, is if you're suffering from addiction, please get professional help. Don't try to do this alone. You need to do this for yourself. This is an important thing to rid your body of. It doesn't matter what you're addicted to. We've talked about substances in this video, but you could also be addicted to sex, pornography. You could be addicted to gambling. You can be addicted to a lot of different things. You can be addicted to eating, right? If you're addicted to anything, please get help and do it now. If you don't know where to go and you don't know what to do, send me an email and I will point you in the right direction. My email address is michael.brown@sunshinentc.com. I'd be happy to help you. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and send it to someone that you know needs to hear this. And please subscribe to my channel. I'm Pharmacist Michael. Be happy and be healthy.